Hi guys, I'm always so surprised when it says that I'm live. I wait for the little ticker and then I'm like, oh, okay. Hi guys, welcome to Cake Talk. Um, I just want to let you guys know that right now there is a Gotta Catch 'em All sale at howtocakeit.com. Every day is different, and if you keep checking back, there's a different sale every single day until August 21st. I also heard a rumor that right now my cake teas are 15% off, but that's only until noon today. Okay, I want to get right to the questions because there's a lot of them. A lot, as usual. Okay. Let me see. Select. Hi, yo, it's Luke from last week. I'm making the cookie mega cake. Good choice for my birthday. You're making your own birthday cake? That sounds like something I would do. So I was wondering if you have any tips. Thanks and love you so much. Yes, have fun and enjoy the cake. You can't go wrong. That cake was delicious. That's probably one of my favorite cakes that I ever ate on the channel or made on the channel. So have fun. You don't have to do it exactly the way I did it. I mean, you can't go wrong with vanilla chocolate chip cake and cookie cakes and cookies and cookie butter buttercream. It's your birthday, so make the cake you want to make. Okay, next. Okay, this is from, oh, I hope I say your name right. Humaira Ahmed. What inspired you to bake? Also, do you have any tips for anyone who would like to take on baking as a job? Thanks, love your videos. Thank you. What inspired me to bake? I've always loved baking. My dad used to bake, and I have a major sweet tooth. So I figured if I could bake my own sweets, then I could eat them all too. Tips for anyone to take on baking as a job? Yes. Wow, there's a lot of lessons I learned along the way, and some of them took me too long. You should always know your worth and never underestimate it, and you should always be realistic about the time it takes you to make something and charge accordingly. And that's probably the most difficult thing about being a baker, especially a cake decorator, is nobody realizes how long it takes and why, particularly novelty cakes sort of cost as much as they do. Yeah, and document your work. Take pictures, have a portfolio, or make an Instagram account, something so that people can see your work and your progress. It's kind of like a digital business card. I wish I always had that. I used to take physical photos and put them in an album, and now the world, it's so much better. And good luck. Okay. Here we go. This is from Betty Rose. Hello, Betty Rose. Hi, Yolanda. I love watching your videos. I made a book cake over the weekend. Came out great, but my buttercream was not so great. I have to practice it more. Yes, practice makes perfect. How many orders can you handle per week? Well, I don't take orders anymore because they have been replaced with filming episodes of How to Cake It. But I used to do maximum 2. Sometimes 1 if the cake was really, really difficult. I remember once I made an old, like the old Apple computer, the one that used to have come in different colors before they were all like flat. That was the only cake I made for the weekend for a bar mitzvah because it was so difficult that I couldn't make more. So that's another really difficult thing about being a cake decorator is you have to learn to say no. If you take on more than you can handle, you'll probably be the one who is sorry because you won't be able to sleep. And they're all usually due on the weekend at the same time. So yeah, at most, the most I ever made in one weekend was 3. And that was like 2 of them being birthday cakes and 1 being a wedding cake. So I believe in not biting off more than you can chew. Okay, next. Okay, let's go to some questions on different platforms. This is from Mize Parker on Facebook. Hi, Yolanda. When you decide on a cake, do you drop the idea or create some type of vision board as a guide that will help you stay on track, or do you just depend on what you pull up on the phone? It's a combination of a lot of things. The best case scenario for me is when I can have an actual model. So like Walter, or I'm trying to think of what else I made on the show where I had a physical object. I can't think right now. Wow. Oh, I had a little pokeball when I made the pokeball. So that's the best case scenario because then I can see it three-dimensionally, and that really helps me. In the case of things like shark or a roasted turkey, then I relied on images from Google. That's kind of hard because you're looking at it flat, and really these things are three-dimensional, but I couldn't get a live shark. So that's kind of the only option that I have. And what I'll do is I'll often become obsessed with whatever, oh boy, I'll often become obsessed with whatever I'm going to make and just keep Googling it and looking at as many images as I can. Yeah, but that's pretty much what I do. I make templates whenever necessary or when I think they will help me, but that's pretty much what I do. I used to draw more when I had clients, and if I spoke to them about my vision and they couldn't envision it themselves, then I would do like a little sketch to show them. The only cake on how to cake it that I've actually sketched out is the cake of cakes, the like the tiered cake I made. That was cakes on cakes on cakes. That was the only one I sketched out because I do find when you make a cake that has a lot of different colors, it sometimes helps you to draw it out and map out where the colors will go so that it just doesn't become too overpowering. So I hope that helped. Next, Rosalind Marie on Facebook. Hello from Australia. Hello. I'm struggling with smooth Italian buttercream in cold weather, even when I think I have my butter soft enough. Any tips? Yeah, I don't. It's funny because in cold weather, I live in cold weather too. I'll find sometimes after I make my buttercream, it will start to like tense up because it's just cold. The environment is cold. So sometimes I like to re-whip it. I find that really helpful. I'll put it back in my stand mixer. You can even just hold a bowl of like warm water under the bowl and re-whip it. So you don't want to really like heat it up or anything like that, but you just want to get the chill off. I've even like if I have a batch of Italian meringue buttercream, I've even taken like a small bit, put it on the microwave, but on defrost, don't heat it or melt it or anything like that, just to remove some of the chill and then put it back in my whole batch and really, really stir it. Yeah, but weather's a factor. Just like when I make it in the summer, I feel like it's a little more droopy when I'm using it because it's just so hot in here. Next. This is from Tyler Joycef on Instagram. Favorite flavor of icing? I love coffee, Italian meringue buttercream. I love it. I need to do another cake soon where I use it again. I used it in my Tim Hortons cake, but I don't think I've used it any. Oh, and I used it in Cake Olay, my Father's Day cake from last year. Okay, this is from FernDog 2.0 on Instagram. Who's your favorite singer, band, or song? I feel like, FernDog, I feel like you haven't been paying attention because it is Beyonce at the moment. Teenage me in the 90s would have told you it was Mariah Carey because I was very obsessed with her in the 90s. Okay, this is from I Love Livy on Instagram. What, in your opinion, is the best way to store your leftover cake? That's a great question. It depends on how much you have left over. If you think you can eat it within like a week, then I would wrap it, especially the exposed part. So if you've cut into it, wrap that with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. That's great if it's a fondant cake, just covering the exposed part. If it's like a mega cake or an open face cake, then you need to wrap the entire cake, keep it in the fridge, and when you're ready to eat it, just cut off a slice and leave it out on a plate until it comes to room temperature and eat that. You don't have to constantly defrost the whole cake just to have a slice. And if it's a lot of cake, like let's say it's leftover wedding cake, you can absolutely freeze cake as well. I would recommend wrapping it in a few layers of plastic wrap and then putting it in the freezer. And then when you want to thaw it, take it out, put it in the fridge first, and then do the same thing. Cut off what you want to eat and thaw that slice at room temperature. Okay, next. Okay, this is from Anne's Nicole on Instagram. Do you have any tips on how to care for a stand mixer? Yes, I thoroughly clean my stand mixer after every use. So I just wipe it down if anything has splashed on it. I sometimes, in the little piece that sticks out where you put your attachment, like your paddle or your whip, sometimes gunk builds up there, like if your batter has gotten up there and you really haven't seen it. So I really make sure to wipe that down. I use a toothpick if necessary to get anything out that's in little grooves. And I just really keep it clean. I unplug it when I'm not using it. And that's pretty much all I can say. Keep it clean, keep it unplugged, and hopefully it'll be good to you. Okay, now the next question is from EREmily31 on Instagram. What is your favorite sport in the Olympics? Well, I have to admit I'm not the sportiest person. So the only thing I've actually watched on the Olympics this year is the 400 meter and the 100 meter dash, just because I think it's so incredible. I can't believe there are people who can run that fast. And the 400 meter dash in particular, because the guy who won the silver medal, Kirani James, is actually from Grenada, and that's where my mom is from. So that's a very big deal for Grenada. That's huge. So I had to watch that. Next. Oh, this is a great question. It's from NYS underscore VOC on Instagram. What's the furthest you've traveled with a cake? Well, was this year? Wow, the year's going by so fast. So this year in February, I was on the Today Show and I took 2 of my little emoji cakes on an airplane to New York City. So that is the furthest I have ever traveled with a cake. Jocelyn and I were really nervous as to whether we could even get them over the border. We did not know. We tried to call as many people as we could because I had to carry them on. They went through the x-ray and everything, my babies, but they made it. And the good thing was they were small, so I could physically pack them in a box, put those boxes in a bag, and know that they were secure. I can't imagine traveling like with the roasted turkey cake or the shark cake. That would be, or the snake cake. That would be almost impossible. Okay. Next. Okay, here we go. I'm going to answer this question because this is from Taylor Galoob. What brand do you use for your cake pans? I used Wilton Sphere pans and they took forever to bake the cake. They made the caramelization soggy, not fun. Yes, well, the brand I use for all my pans, which are like round, square, rectangle, is actually a brand called Crown, which is a Canadian brand. I love those pans. I probably have like 80 of them. You can get them, I'm trying to think of where you can get them internationally. Oh, you can get them at flowerconfections.com because they ship internationally. But when it comes to like novelty shapes, like round, or I have an egg pan, I think those are the only novelty pans I have. Yeah, and they are both Wilton. They are both Wilton. You don't really have a lot of choice. I do have two other sphere pans by another company that I can't remember, but they're smaller than the Wilton one. And I also like to use 2 stainless steel bowls to bake in. So Walter, the top of Walter, the watermelon, was a bowl. And when I did BB-8 and Pokeball, I baked my cake in 2 bowls. But the truth is, because you're baking in a sphere, which is just like a bowl, and it's so deep, it has to bake a long time because it takes forever for the center to be done. So yes, by the time the center is done, the outside has been sort of well done, but there's nothing you can do about that. There really is nothing you can do about that other than not bake a sphere and try to bake round cakes and carve them. But believe me, that's really hard. It seems like it should be simple to carve something like a sphere because it's just round. It's really hard to do it evenly and get it perfect. So whenever I make a sphere, I bake it in a bowl. It just makes my life that much easier. Okay, next. This is a great question. This is from Fatima Mula. Who do you really want to do a collab with? Love from South Africa. I love South Africa. I went to South Africa on my honeymoon. It was fabulous. I dream of going back. I really want to do a collab with Superfruit. I've always said this. I think they're hilarious. I want to bake them a cake, and then I just want to hang out with them and laugh. And I would love to do a collab with Superwoman, who I know, I just think she's the coolest. She was at YouTube Fan Fest here in Toronto. When was that? On Saturday, this past Saturday, and she just killed it. She sang her new track Voices. She was amazing. The energy she brings to the stage. I would also love to do a collab with ASAP Science, who I haven't technically done a collab with, but I did make a cake for them. Greg and Mitch, they're great. So yeah, that's who. Okay, so next question. Oh, this is actually a good question, and we get this a lot. So this is from Shira Sever. Hi, I love your videos. Can you make an ice cream tutorial? The problem with an ice cream, I actually love ice cream. Ice cream is my favorite dessert. It's my favorite thing to make for myself, like in my home. At home, I have an ice cream maker. And I actually have 2 ice cream makers, and I love making ice cream. The problem with making an ice cream tutorial is we wouldn't be able to shoot it the way that we shoot cakes. When I make a cake, after I'm done, we sort of stop for a moment, set up the cake on the butcher block, and then Sasha could take all these amazing pictures of it from every angle so you guys can really see what that cake looks like. If I made an ice cream cake, we wouldn't be able to do that because it's too hot in here, and the things you don't see are like the extra lights that we put up, you know, to light my work and to make it easier for you guys to see. And ice cream would just melt, and there's nothing I can do to stop that. In fact, when you see ice cream when you see like the picture of ice cream on an ice cream box or in a commercial, they usually fake that. I've heard that they use mashed potatoes, and I also know a trick where you could take icing and add a ton of icing sugar and then scoop it, and then it looks like ice cream and doesn't melt. So that's why we have not done an ice cream tutorial. If we did, it'd have to be a very short video and very different to all my other YouTube videos. And then basically there would just be sort of me making a custard mixture on the stove and then you watching it in a machine and then a quick shot of me like scooping it. So I'm not saying never, but at the moment we really haven't figured out how to do that. If I were to, also, there's no freezer in here. So that is a big problem when it comes to ice cream. Okay, next. Oh, hello, I'm done. Okay. Oh, this is great. Okay. Hi, yo, making my sister's favorite cake for her birthday tomorrow, coffee and chocolate. Yum. Me and your sister would get along. Oh, sorry, this is from Tom Pisani. I've decided to make your cake au lait. Yes. How much concentrated coffee should I add to 4 pounds of your vanilla cake to make it coffee? By the way, I love your creations. They're works of art. Actually, the way I would suggest doing that is making a coffee simple syrup and syruping the vanilla cake rather than trying to bake coffee in the cake. That's a lot of liquid. You could, if she really likes coffee, you could get like ground espresso beans or ground instant espresso and add a bit of that to your batter. But I would definitely suggest making a coffee simple syrup. It's amazing. You can make a simple syrup. You can make a couple of shots of espresso and pour it in, or make strong coffee and pour it into the simple syrup. It is the most delicious thing in the world. And also coffee buttercream, which I mentioned earlier. Coffee buttercream is delicious. And the thing is that fat is such a great flavor carrier. So adding coffee to buttercream as opposed to cake batter just gives you so much more rich flavor. So if I were, yeah, that, and I think, didn't I do coffee butter? Yeah, there's coffee buttercream and cake au lait, and there's also chocolate buttercream and also vanilla buttercream. So that is how I would definitely attack that. But good luck, Tom, and lucky sister. Okay, next. Oh, this is a great question. I can't believe nobody has ever asked this. Okay, this is from Asia Davidson. Hi, Yolanda. I've been watching you for a long time, and I love your videos. Question, how do you record the parts of your video when you're baking the cake in the oven? Is the oven on and hot, or is there a small camera in the oven while it's off? Yes, the second part is right. There's a small camera in the oven while it's off. So in reality, I've already, kind of like a cooking show would do, I've already baked the cakes that I'm going to use. And then what I do to show you the baking process is the oven is off, and Sasha puts the camera inside, and then I show you how I put them in the oven, and then I take the ones I've already baked and pull them out and show you how they would look when they were done. It would be a waste of a lot of money to put a camera in a hot oven, and I think it would be dangerous and pointless. So we sometimes do those shots when we can because we think they're really cool. But that is the way it's done on TV. That's how they do it on TV shows. You know, they show you putting a pie in the oven, and then they're like, "Oh, look, the pie," because the video would be very boring if you all waited around in real time for the cake to bake. But great question, because nobody has asked that. Oh, it's I hope I'm saying your name right. It's Fatima again from South Africa. Favorite ice cream flavor? Wow, I love coffee ice cream. I love Ben & Jerry's has a coffee toffee. It is so good. I happen to love mint ice cream, but real mint. So I love to make ice cream. I just steep mint leaves in my milk before I make the custard and then make ice cream. It's so delicious. And I also have a thing for pistachio or hazelnut gelato. Those are my all-time favorites. This is from Kimberly Sanchez. Is Walter still in the fridge? No. We actually, if you go on Jocelyn's Instagram, which is at Jocelyn Mercer 11, we went on Walter's boat. Walter had a party on his boat, and there's a picture of all of us, me and Connie and Jocelyn and Rick, who is from Kin, and Walter. And Walter doesn't look so pleased in the shot. Okay, next. Oh wow, this is such an amazing question. This is from Nia Leota. Your father has definitely been a major influence in your life. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for your children? And what's your favorite memory in the kitchen? You're amazing. He would be so, so proud of you. Thank you so much. I would want, first and foremost, I would want my son to think that both Mr. Cake and I are nice people, try to be nice people at all times, are considerate of other people. I would also want him to believe or know that we strive to work hard and to follow our dreams and to be true to ourselves, because that's what I would want most for him. The hardest thing about having a child is you hope that they gain all of your strengths and none of your weaknesses. And that's pretty much impossible because they learn by being around you. So that's kind of the hardest adjustment, is realizing that they're just absorbing every single thing you do and say, even in moments when you think they're not. My favorite memory in the kitchen. Wow, I have so many. I'm a really lucky girl, like being in here, even when it's hard, filming with Sasha and it's really late at night and we just get our iPods and like play music and just take it 1 hour at a time, or on days when Jocelyn's here and we're all just like laughing. I have so many good memories, great memories of Chet being here, so many great memories that I really can't count. I have loved doing collabs. I really, really, truly enjoyed having my real life friends in the kitchen. So I've had Casper and Derek in the kitchen. A lot of people actually commented on the cookie, mega chocolate chip cookie cake video about mine and Derek's chemistry. And that is because we're truly friends and we love each other. And I guess that was very obvious to everyone. So I've really, really enjoyed that. And hopefully I'll get to do so much more of that. Okay. Oh, this is from Cake It. What do you do with your spare time? What is spare time? I have a lot less spare time now. I tend to try, you're going to think I'm really nerdy. Often in my spare time, I do one of three things. I clean, organize. I'm obsessed with being organized. Currently, it is pictures of my son, because when you have a kid and you have an iPhone, you take 10,000 pictures of them a day, and it's really hard to keep track. When I was a kid, even when I was young, I used to take pictures with film, and so I knew I could only take 24 pictures, so you didn't waste them. Now we're like, click, 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 click. Everything is a fashion show. The other thing I like to do is spend time with my husband and my son and my good friends whenever I can, because I think that's it just brings so much to your life. And the older you get, the less time you have for that, the harder it gets. Okay. Oh, this is another good question from Kate. Could you make a Harry Potter themed cake, maybe from the new book? Love you lots. You know what's funny? Sasha is actually reading the new book. I'm sure you noticed in my Butterbeer Mega Cake, Sasha was our go-to for all things Harry Potter. So is Amy. She's not in the video, but so Sasha's currently reading the new book. So every time we eat lunch and Sasha reads because she's obsessed with Harry Potter. And I, on the other hand, don't know much about Harry Potter, because as I mentioned in your question before, I have no free time. And so I get really nervous when I have to make things that are fan favorites, like Harry Potter or Pokeball or things like that. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I just made a football cake this week. And I'm nervous because I don't know, whenever I have to make something that I don't know anything about, but people are crazy about, I really want to represent it well. And my idea with the butterbeer cake was, you know what, let's do the butterbeer cake and then let's do a call out to the fans to ask them what they would want to see me make most. And I can't even tell you how many different answers we got. So I kind of feel like if I made a Harry Potter novelty cake, like half the people would be like, yes, she made I don't know what. And then the other half would be like, why didn't you make so it always scares me. It just scares me because I'm obsessed with getting it right. And I feel like I can never get those things right because I don't know anything about them. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Oh, here's a good question. Why can't I scroll? I'm so sorry. It's not letting. Thank you very much. Oh, this is from Taylor Galoob again. What's the difference between Italian meringue buttercream and Swiss meringue buttercream? Also, why do you prefer Italian over Swiss buttercream? Good question. So the ingredients are the same. The difference is the method. In an Italian meringue buttercream, you boil water and sugar to make a sugar syrup. You then whip your egg whites, pour them in. When that mixture is cool, you add room temperature butter and whip it until it thickens into a beautiful buttercream. With Swiss meringue buttercream, you heat your egg whites and sugar in your bowl over a pot of water. And then when it's hot enough, you put it on your mixer and you start to whip it again until it's cool, and then you add your butter. So Swiss is technically easier and a little less tricky, but I like Italian because I find it smoother. I don't dislike Swiss meringue buttercream. It's just from the moment I tried Italian meringue buttercream and got it right, I was in love. And it's probably one of the #1 things I get complimented on over the years making cakes. Everybody's like, oh my God, your buttercream. Oh my God, your buttercream. And so I have to kind of give it up to Italian meringue buttercream because it's delicious. It flavors well. It colors well. It's really smooth. I don't think I'll ever give it up. I do want to make a Swiss meringue on the channel. I make a really good deep chocolate buttercream, and it is a Swiss meringue. So I do definitely want to use that. Okay. Oh, here we go. This is a good question from Sadie Trent. What was it like to work with Elise from My Cupcake Addiction? It's thanks to her that I found your channel. Oh my God, it was great. Elise is great. I actually met Elise in May of this year at the YouTube Creator Summit. And I was talking to Anne Reardon, and she introduced me to Elise, and it was awesome. And she's just lovely. She's just lovely. And then we both happened to be at VidCon, so we did a meet and greet together. And she was coming to Toronto, and we thought this is kind of perfect because when will she be in Toronto again? So she came, and we did a collab, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I really think I feed well off having other people in my kitchen. I also enjoy when the other person in my kitchen has sort of the same skills set as me. So we could both sit here together and decorate a cake together. And that was really cool. Even though I've collabed, I've never done that on the channel. So that was really, really cool. La, la, la. Okay. I keep doing this. Oh, wow, this is so wonderful. This is from Nia Leota again. My son, Christian, is a second-year apprentice pastry chef. He adores you. Well, thank you, Christian. Any advice for the next generation stepping into the industry? Thank you for being a great role model. P.S. He would die if you gave him a shout-out. I don't want him to die, But shout out to Christian, sorry. Second year apprentice pastry chef. Wow, I actually never went to school to be a pastry chef. I went to be a chef. But it did make me realize that I loved baking much more. So I learned a lot of valuable lessons in school. I loved being in a school where I got to focus on exactly what I loved, which was not true, when I was in high school. I had to take things like that I was not good at that made me feel a certain way. So my advice is to Christian, put your heart into it, work hard. And if you love it and you give it your all, it will definitely give back to you. One of the most interesting things about going to chef school was I was one of the only people in chef school who was straight out of high school. Most of the people there had already been to university, were already lawyers, or had taken completely different career paths, worked in finance, and one day just up and left their jobs because it didn't make them happy and went to chef school. So I found that so interesting because I do think that I think that every human being has a connection to food. We need it to survive. And some of us just have like a true deep love that we pour into food. And it's amazing. So yeah, good luck, Christian. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question. Wow. Okay. There's a lot of highs, so I'm just scrolling. Wow. Oh, what did I just do? Oh no. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is from Tom Pisani. I'm going to answer this. This is one of the most asked questions on How to Cake It. By the way, thanks for the advice earlier. No problem. But why does Jocelyn I think you meant to say not want to show her face? Or why does Jocelyn want to show her face? Now I found it weird to see the laugh and face coming together. I don't know why. Jocelyn has always shown her face on my Instagram and now in my Insta stories, but never on YouTube on How to Cake It. That's because her job is to be behind the camera and she loves that job. And we were actually just having this conversation because we went to YouTube Fan Fest on the weekend and a lot of fans in the crowd were recognizing various YouTubers who were also sitting in the crowd. And so a lot of people came up to us and I always made sure to say, this is Jocelyn. And I can't tell you how many people, when they meet Jocelyn, the first thing they say is, oh, but you're so pretty. Because I think people have this idea that she doesn't want to be on camera because she doesn't feel good enough. That has nothing to do with it. Jocelyn is gorgeous inside and out, but she's very good at her job and she loves her job. She loves producing the way that I love making cakes. So yeah, if all the people who are really curious go on Instagram and see her. She actually has like 10,000 followers because people are so curious to see Jocelyn. But yeah, it's just her choice to remain behind the camera. And I now think it's really funny because truth be told, she just started to talk to me while we worked to make me feel more comfortable. If you watch my first videos and you don't hear Jocelyn, they're slightly more just a touch more serious than I really am. And it's because I think you can see my nerves. I'm more nervous. So when she started to talk to me because we're friends, I sort of eased up and acted more like myself. And then we decided to keep that format because it really works, but it has made a lot of people very curious about Jocelyn. So thanks for joining me on Cake Talk. I have to go now. I have a phone call with Amy. So much to do. Oh, and it's my niece's birthdays tonight. Happy birthday to Ella and Lily. I love you. I'll see you later. And yes, I am bringing cake. Oh, and guys, I can't wait till you see next week's cake. I'm going to give you a hint. It features the tiniest mic drop ever. Bye, guys.